What's going on, you guys? My name is Matt, and how this works is I talk about the coolest cards that I saw sell this week, which are all air Pokemon cards. You watch, you listen, you like, and you subscribe. Is that subscribe? Yes, it is. And that's it. Let's get right on to this week's episode. Also, I'm wearing a hat because YouTube would flag me for violent, gory content because my hair looks so bad right now. So we're dealing with Hatted Matt this week. The Matt Hatter. That's funny. All right, kicking things off, we have a Gyarados. This is from Call of Legends. This is a reverse holo, and this error is it's a misaligned print error. So basically what this is, you can see it with the energy symbols. You can see that the actual symbol part within the circle of the energy symbol is shifted over a little bit. So I've seen other people talk about this before where there are certain energy symbols and they're shifted just a little bit, but that really doesn't add too much. When it's shifted like this, personally, I didn't think it was worth that much, but I believe the seller sold 3 different items this week. One sold for like $50, this one sold for $70, and another one sold for $100. And they're all in auction, and it just kind of surprised me. I didn't think these sold for that much. You can see average non-arrow prices around $8, but because these little shifts in the energy symbols, I think, so this is all throughout the card, but if you look above me, you can see exactly what that looks like in close-up detail. Yeah, I didn't think it'd sell for that much, but this one had 2 bidders this week and sold for $70. Next up, play the music. Alright, we have a first edition base set Alakazam with that fat bottom miscut, or this is labeled as an off-center error by CGC. Got graded at 5.5 and sold for $600. Now you know me, I always love these vintage miscuts, and to see an Alakazam like this with that fat bottom is pretty cool. You want to see the back of it? Look above me, you can see all the whitening. I think that's kind of what brought it down to a 5.5. But a very cool card. Obviously not a big error value increase, but if you think about it, that added $180 of value, so that's not bad. And you think this is the only Alakazam with a fat bottom miscut? Nuh-uh. Keep the music rolling. Here we have another one. Here we have a base set 2 Alakazam with the same miscut. It's a little bit more off-center, I would say, because you can see that alignment dot. It's a little bit fatter. This one got graded a PSA 8 off-center. I don't know what PSA's criteria is to label a miscut versus off-center, but this one's definitely more severe than the last one, but obviously didn't sell for as much because first edition base set versus base set 2 is, there's a big difference in price there. So even though this got graded a lot higher, this one sold for $250, but had an EVI of 400%. Alright, next up we have a base set Abra, and typically when you see a base set Abra, it's either a repeating printer hickey on the center of the card, or it's the jet plane error. Well, this is neither of those. This is an inverted and miscut back. Sorry, an inverted and misaligned back. You can see that Pokeball is upside down, and it is shifted down and to the right. It's cool to see these on vintage cards. It's honestly cool to see it anywhere, but when you see it on vintage cards, it sells for a little bit more. But honestly, $45 for this card seems like a pretty good deal. And the card's in good shape too. That's cool to see. Average non-error price is $1.73. That gives us 2,501% error value increase. And that's good enough for number 9 this week. Couple things. I tell you, it's nice to be back on the old format. I'm not traveling to Hawaii. I'm not having to scramble. And also, I'm wearing my Pokemon sweater. My wife got this for me. I love it. I never asked her for it, but she just knows I love Pokemon. And it's one of the sweeter gifts I've ever gotten because she doesn't know much about Pokemon. So for her to go and pick something out like this for me, I absolutely love it. She's a sweetheart. So next up, we have a repeating error. It's a first edition base set Machamp with the green dot error. Top right of the card, it says 100 HP. There is a green dot on the top of the H in HP. And yes, a repeating error. I see it. I said no here for repeating error. I am mistaken there. That is an error once again. But yeah, this is a cool one. And you can see added a decent amount of value. Sold for $50 this week. That's really not too bad. The card's in pretty good shape too. This is, you see a lot of first edition Machamps selling, and so this is one I always keep my eye on the top right of the card just to see if there's anything there. That and the Matrix holo, where there is a certain pattern within the holo. Those are the two things I look for this card. Next up, we have a base set Hitmonchan. Are these all base set cards? I believe they are so far. That's pretty fun. So this is a base set Hitmonchan, got graded a CGC 6.5, and this is an additional ink error. And I don't think this is a repeating error, but boy, was this just cheap. So this is my problem with consignment shops and also selling as an auction. You might not get the best price. The person buying might, but when you're selling, you're not getting the total value. So there's two things to consider. You can hold out and sell it for best accepted offer price. You will get more money, but the drawback is sometimes it takes longer. And if you sell an auction, you'll get money within the 7 days, 7 or 10 days, however long it's listed, but you're usually not going to get as much value. So you have to kind of weigh the pros and cons of that, see what you want to do. But honestly, I think this card probably should have sold for, just a gut feeling, 50, 60 bucks maybe, if not higher. I don't know how rare the specific error is, but you can see that additional green ink, it looks like, is pretty severe. It's on a good portion of the top of the card. So this one only added 20% to the value of the card, and I think the buyer got a good deal. Next up, we have an Evolution Box Wartortle error. So this is a base set Wartortle. Once again, all base sets so far. Very interesting. So this is a repeating error, pretty sought after, and you can see we have error pricing for this because it's a repeating error. And this one is, I think, behind the times a little bit for some of the pricing. But so this says average price is around $400 for PSA 9, and I think that might be right. You don't see too many in the grade 9 here, and this is just another example. This is the same consignment shop. They sold it in auction, and it sold for $177.50. So someone might have gotten just like a 50% discount on this. EVI of 391%. This should be way higher. Absolutely way higher, especially for an error like this. It's rare. You see them pop up quite a bit, but there's always a lot of value behind this, and so I think someone got a great deal behind this. So yes, $177.50 for this grade 9 Evolution Box Error Wartortle. You'll see this go top 10, if not maybe number 1 every now and then with how rare it is if it's raw. So to see this not even be close to the top 10, that definitely says something. So people always think this is an error because it says HP 50 instead of 50 HP. Well, it turns out that this base set Vulpix is actually rare to find the corrected version. So that only happened with the, I believe, the 4th print. And so I don't know what that works out to be. Maybe 1 out of 20, 1 out of 30, if not maybe even greater than that. You don't see these too often, but they're fun to see because a lot of people don't even really know to look for it. So I have several in my collection that I've picked up for like $2 each, the corrected version. And it's fun, and you can see this one, I've seen them sell for around $20 before, but $35 is the highest I've seen sell for this. So I'm kind of surprised, but it's kind of cool. I have a couple myself. So if you are an error collector, if you just enjoy this, I'd say look up base set Vulpix and see if you can find one that says 50 HP. And that's actually a rare card, and I would consider it an error because yeah, the corrected version is harder to find. So this one sold for $35, average non-error price $1.44. So that is an error value increase of 2,331%, and that's good enough for number 10 this week, actually. So we got a corrected version for number 10. Not bad. But you know, your boy never pays full price for anything, so that's why he got an ad discount. So next up we have a very cool repeating error, another base set. I didn't even realize that. This is all base set cards. That's incredible. This is the base set Beedrill, and typically the D-dot offending error is the error that this one is, but this one is called the bloody wing error. Now, if I'm being honest, the non-error card here, this is listed under price charting, and there's a red dot on the wing there, and I always thought that was the bloody wing. So I always assumed that was it. So whenever I would look for this, I would look for either D-dot offending or the bloody wing right there. But it turns out the bloody wing is actually bigger and a little bit further up to the right. So this is the first one in 39 weeks that I have seen sell, and you can see a PSA 6 sold for $500. That's incredible. That might be more expensive than the D-Dot offending error. Again, we've seen D-Dot offending, what, maybe 7-8 times in the 39 weeks I've been doing this. But Bloody Wing, first time, so this might be an even lower population. And average non-error price for this for a grade 6 goes for $8. So that gives us a 6,150% error value increase. And that's good enough for number 4 this week. The Bloody Wing, keep your eye out for it. It's definitely one that stands out quite a bit, so I would imagine it'd be hard to find. Again, there's not too many out there, and when they do pop up, I'm sure people recognize it right away, so this would be a sought after one. I would like to know if anyone in the comments has this, because this is a neat one. Alrighty, with the holidays right around the corner here, I thought this would be another great time for me to cheat, lie, and scam my way to the top. Statistically, if I include a cool Pokemon news thing in my thumbnail and talk about it for a minute, views go way up, I get more subscribers, and I am happy. I don't think this is really cheating and lying, because I'm talking about them, so I'm not lying, but yeah, so I always like to just include this. And here we have a really cool one from Reddit. So this was posted by user OKBroccoli4136, and they have probably the most crazy misaligned Pokemon cards I've ever seen. So yes, they have these 3 cards here, and you can see the front looks pretty normal, but then when you look at the back, it is about as perfectly misaligned as you can get. Now, one thing that surprised me here is seeing the alignment dots and then the plus in the middle. I didn't know that was a thing. Is that something they're doing with more modern cards now? Because I know it was always just the alignment dot, but this seems like they're almost stepping up their game in a way, but clearly not because this is so misaligned. The user claims these are legit. I believe them, and holy cow. So I reached out to them, just said, hey, you know, I have a YouTube channel, I love talking about this. So they didn't provide any additional information, but they did message me about a day ago saying they sent these to CGC to get graded. So boy, I can't even imagine how much these are going to sell for. These are so unique, so cool, and yeah, just will be very interested to see what happens when they get this back from CGC. But to see a card that's not factory cut like this, within the misalignment this crazy, and the fronts is just perfect, it's so unique. It's some of the 3 craziest Pokemon cards I've ever seen. So clip it, put it in the thumbnail, get more views. Back to the rest of the video. So next up we have an additional ink error, another base set. I swear I did not realize this as I was putting these graphics together, so that's pretty cool. This is an additional ink error on the holo. Now, I've seen this before where it looks like this is not as severe, but it looks a little bit different, and it could be something where there is damage after the fact that the card was printed. But Infernos Games knows error cards, so I'll trust what he's doing over there. Yeah, this is very cool to see. You can see this is a significant additional ink error. Would that be 30% of the holo is taken up by that, and that is 100% reflected in the price. $500. $500 for a raw Pokemon card, a base set card. You don't see Charizards going for this much. That's really, really incredible. You can see this card's in great shape. Would love to see it graded. I don't know what it would get, but I imagine it would be high. And you can see this base set holo typically goes for around $9.32. But with this one selling for $500, the error value increase is 5,264%. And that's good enough for number 5 this week. Wow. Another cool one, never seen that. Don't know how many there are of this. I don't know if this is too common within base set. I don't think it is. Again, haven't really seen them, but always very cool to see. I wonder what happens to have this kind of occur. What would you know? Another base set. So here we have a base set Poliwrath, and this is a, I would call it a severe miscut. You can see even PSA labeled it a PSA 7 miscut, and shifted quite a bit to the right. You see there's another portion of another card there on the left. I wonder if that's another Poliwrath. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you because I don't know what the uncut sheet looks like, but it's got to be some other water type. That is all my money would say, really. And is that a print line too? Kind of at the feet of Poliwrath? I never really, yeah, I'm familiar with print lines. I know that can be kind of hard for the grading process sometimes, but yeah, we see an alignment dot in the bottom left corner. On the back side, we don't see an alignment dot. I'm always kind of curious about that because this looks like it's pretty clean cut, so you think it would be the same on the back, but I guess that's not the case here. And so this one was listed for $650 Australian, and it sold for just that amount, and so you translate that, and that is $420.87. So for a grade 7, you have around 1100% for an EVI, so that's very, very strong. I would say the higher you go up for a grade, the lower the EVI will be, just because it's kind of like up and up, and they get closer and closer as they go up, but that's not the case here. So 1100% is very solid for this. Not top 10, but you know I love my vintage miscuts. Wow. I don't think anyone's surprised at this point. Base set Zapdos. This one's additional red ink. I have not seen this one before. Very, very cool. And again, for a holo, a vintage holo, and this one's in very, very good shape too. To have an EVI of 1500%, that's very, very, very solid. Spoiler, not top 10. But look at that, so we have an additional red ink on the bottom of the card. And that's pretty severe. I would imagine any grading company that recognizes errors, so basically CGC, would definitely give this additional ink error. And very unique. Man, I love that. That's so cool. I wonder if around Zapdos on the uncut sheet there is a fire type Pokemon. I don't know, it just something happened where the ink kind of bled through a little bit, but whatever happened, it made for a very cool card. I also put repeating error here. I don't think that's a repeating error, that's my bad. Yeah, so $270 for this one. Okay, this next one, base set Pidgeotto. What else would it be? This one was very, very shocking to me. So this is a ink dot error. There's printer hickeys and there's ink dot errors. Ink dot errors are usually just a solid color of ink that gets splashed, and then printer hickeys are something that gets obstructed in the printing process, and it's usually multicolored or has different shapes to it. So it's kind of easy to tell. Usually an ink dot error like this won't add too much value. So apparently, if I have it zoomed in here, up above me, this little ink dot, when flipped right side up, looks like a heart. It's tiny. What is that, like a millimeter, 2 millimeters? And it sold for $150? What? You see the description for the error. I added $5 signs because that's a lot of money for this. Holy cow. So this person did it right. They listed it for $150 or best offer. I'm guessing the person who purchased it, so let's say just first, the card's in good shape, so we can have that going for it. They either love hearts, they love Pidgeotto, or they love both. And if they love both, they're willing to spend $150. That's so cool. Wow, that's a lot of money. Average non-error price is $5.50. This is a non-holo, but it's also a rare, so that's why you see it selling for a little bit more. So the EVI is 2,612%. I would never in all of my years think that I would see a little ink dot like this add $145 of value to a card. Either way, with that EVI, this is number 8 this week. Wow. Base set Chansey. Here we have the black dot Chansey error. This is a repeating error, and it is the black dot under scrunch attack, and it's about right smack dab in the middle there. It's a pretty significant ink dot. As I said, repeating error, cool to see. Don't have information on what the pricing would be for this, but what this sold for, $220, seems about right. I know you get up in the higher grades for it, and it can sell for a lot. You get like 9s and 10s. Not saying this is that high. It looks clean though, but yeah, this could be a good investment. So yeah, cool repeating error. Another base set error. Honestly, I love base set, so this has kind of been a fun week to talk about. And yeah, 1,500% for the EVI. Very, very solid. Very solid. Wow. Not base set. But Wizards of the Coast. This is a Lapras from Fossil set. And I don't know what this would be called. I call it the line error. Very unique. So with this, you can see on the holo layer, there is a couple millimeter thick line that is going down. Now, it's not a print line because it's not vertical or horizontal. It's going at an angle, and I don't have it here, but there is an angle where you can actually see it go through the whole card. So I'm wondering if this line on the hollow portion of the card was actually pronounced enough where even though the hollow portion was covered up on the rest of the card, it still shone through a little bit. So it's very, very cool, very unique. I've never seen this before, and definitely reflected in the price. You know, a hollow Lapras like this only goes for $5.50, and so for this to go for $280, that kind of shows how rare the error is. Again, very cool, and it's cool that's very pronounced in the hollow and goes through the rest of the card too. So if you know more about this error, let me know. But yeah, we're calling it the line error, and sold for a lot, and that EVI of around 5,000% is good enough for number 6 this week. Snap. Okay, here we have the first non-Wizards of the Coast card. Here we have a Vaporeon Vmax, and from Premier Collection, and this is a miscut. It's a top miscut, got a PSA 8 miscut grade, and looks like we have an alignment dot in the top right corner and the back left corner there. And this sold for $315. So around 900% EVI, and yeah, cool miscut. It's always cool with these VMAXs to see the border pattern be different, so you can see the exact line of where another card is added to the top there. So there goes the streak. I'm going to skip over this one because that is the number 1 card. Okay, so this is a Krabby from Fossil set, and usually you see the slash error where there is a missing ink on the fossil symbol, and it looks like there's a 5th appendage. That's not the case here. There's actually 2 repeating Krabby errors, and that is this printer hickey in the middle of the card. This one doesn't show up too often. I'm trying to think. I've probably talked about this once or twice before in the 39 weeks, but yeah, here we have it. Spoiler alert, a couple times this week, and you see it sells for a lot. Listed for $150, sold for just that, and the EVI is 13,173%. That's good enough for number 3 this week. Also, fun fact, I got this photo of the non-error Krabby off of eBay. When I was looking at it, I see there's a tiny little printer hickey there on the top left of the card, and I purchased it because it was like $1. So that's coming in the mail. I know that's not a significant error or anything, but I think it's cool just to get any error, especially if it's a cheap one. Also, you can see this card's in good shape, and yeah, average non-error price is $1.13, so Krabby will always be in the top 10. Hint, hint. Next up, we have a Salazzle. My first time seeing this Pokemon. And this is an inverted and misaligned back. You can see we got that cheeky little alignment dot in the top left corner on the back of the card, which is under the error card portion there. The symbol is flipped upside down, and this sold for $40. Not bad for a modern card. Obviously, it's kind of it's not assumed, but you see it more often that these modern cards are in better shape because grading is a lot more prevalent now, so people know if you get a good card, you put it in the sleeve. Back in my day, it was kind of a crapshoot whether someone did or not. I unfortunately did not, so a lot of my cards are not in the best shape from my childhood, but yeah, so a good shape, sold for $40, and average non-error price is only $1.16. I think that's the same price as a Krabby, actually. But so the EVI is 3,344%. And that's good enough for number 7 this week. Next up, we have a first edition Magneton from Fossil set, and this is the mirror holo error. The incomplete holo error, what this essentially is on the portion where the holo is, there's no stars in there. It's just kind of a clean look. I've seen sometimes where there could be 1 or 2 stars, but it's night and day difference between that and a regular card. You can see on the non-error card here, a lot more stars. I think this one would honestly be kind of hard to tell because when you look at a Magneton card, you really don't see too many stars in general. So I might have a hard time identifying this, but boy, wouldn't you know it, this one sold for $215. I think the reason is, first edition, this card's in really good shape, and also mirror holos definitely do sell for quite a bit more. you'll see some base set ones, especially like the big three, sell for a decent amount. This is the first edition I've seen. I don't think I've seen first edition base set sell for this, but I know there are some out there. Just haven't seen them sell. But yes, $215 for this, and the EVI is around 900%. Hey guys, one random side note. eBay is awesome. So I've been looking to purchase a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon 12-inch figurine for a while. They typically go for $150 to $200. I had one growing up as a kid. Got lost somewhere, didn't have it anymore. Very bummed. Always had a saved search for it, and got one recently for $25. I love it. It's missing one or two pieces, but it's just what I needed to kind of fill that hole that was missing in my heart. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I made the stand for it and just wanted to show you. Look at that thing. Oh, so cool. I'm honestly not even a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan anymore, but there was a couple cards that are very nostalgic to me. So being able to pick that up is definitely very cool. I just want to let you know, keep searching eBay. If you're looking for something, have a saved search for it. Go out and find it, because you can get some really cool stuff for a great deal. That is all. Alright, next up we have a PSA 8 first edition Celebi from Neo Revelation. This is the double holo variant. Double holo is basically where the holo is doubled up in the holo portion there. Best way to tell here, you see there's that like a little hair loopy or whatever that is going out from Celebi. That will be covered up with holo, and also surrounding Celebi, there's a white border on the non-error card, and on the double holo variant, there will be a lot more holo kind of shining through there. So that's a cool one to see. With this one, was just listed as the best accepted offer price, and sold for $1,250. I see Zhang G Emporium. They do consignment, and looks like the seller did it right here for just saying, hey, list it for this price, don't put it in auction. And it paid off, and they got $1,250. One other thing to note here, first edition is a lot more rare to find a double holo than standard edition. It's prevalent in both, but you'll usually see EVI around 600 to 1,000% for the first edition because it is rarer. Standard edition usually have around like 80 to 200%, and that holds pretty true for every card I see sold. Next up, we have a CGC 6 Shadowless Squirtle with the red diamond error. Again, just gotta brag, I got this for $40. CGC 6 sold for $100 this week. And yeah, honestly, I like this error, so I'll talk about it, but the main reason is just so I can show my card. I like to brag about that. You can see EVI is 527%. And yeah, cool repeating error. There's that little red diamond over the V and the E in prevent under withdraw. Mine's currently up for sale on eBay if you want to take a look. I've used my own methods of listing it for higher than I think it should sell. Someone give me a good offer and I might sell it to you. Okay. This is a lot of Krabbies, isn't it? So here we have the seller. They sold the repeating error, so the printer hickey on the right, and they sold the slash error in the middle. And then I have the non-error version on the left there. So all two of these sold for $320 this week. Calculating this was pretty easy. I took $1.13 times it by 2. You get $2.26. So that gives you the average non-error price for 2 Krabbies. And yes, I thought it was very unique to see 2 of these sell, because they're very hard to see sell just on their own. And so to see them sell together is very unique. I haven't seen that before. So $320. And with that EVI, you get 14,057%. And that's good enough for number 2 this week. Okay, and here we have a base set Wartortle with the Evolution Box error. I already talked about it. You should know if you were paying attention. And this is a PSA 8. And personally, I think this probably sold for a little bit less than it should have. Don't know how long it was listed for, but it sold for more than the PSA 9 because it was not an auction. So even if you made the mistake of listing it for a little too low, which again, hard to say what the market price really is because it does shift, but yes, this sold for more than it did in the auction because I believe this is the smarter way, so sometimes patience is key. But yeah, $185 for Pokemon cards. Honestly, so cool. PSA 8 sold for this. The EVI was 685%, so again, nothing groundbreaking, but it's cool to see that. And you see under error price, you got prices for grades 2 through 7, skips 8, and then 9 and 9.5. And so I just said the average error price for this is $185 because the market deems the price, and since there isn't one listed, we just saw one sell for that, so that is what it sells for. And now for the final card this week, the number 1 card, we have a Krabby from Fossil set with a slash error. So technically we have 4 Krabbies in the top 3 because the second one had 2 Krabbies sell. And this is the slash error, and by itself sold for $212. Now I don't have, or we do have average pricing here. Okay, so you can see raw, this usually sells for $135, but this is clean. Clean. So I'd imagine whoever purchased this is going to get it graded, and if they get a grade 8 or higher, definitely could go for a bit of coin, and the market price might even be higher than this. This could be old news here, but yeah, $212 for this raw Pokemon card. That's pretty neat. You can see that this error is definitely sought after, and the EVI is 18,661%. And number 1. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I'm filming this on Saturday, so past Thanksgiving, I've already put up my Christmas tree. My wife and I went and cut it down, hung up some lights this week, and yeah, looking forward to getting to the holiday season here. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.